The floodgates have opened and we are swimming in a sea of content goodness on Comic Book Canon. That is right, people. We are back. It's Friday night and it is a new episode of Comic Book Canon with a very special guest. We have Nerdy Girl Comics in the house tonight, and she's going to talk about all of this amazing goodness of the, how she collects, how she sells, how she finds these kind of crazy golden age keys, and she's silver age keys and bronze, and she is an expert in all of those things on how to sell as well. And maybe she'll be able to give you guys some pointers too. But before we get into Nerdy Girl Comics, I got to bring in my partner in crime here, Christopher. Chris, how are you, buddy?
Yo.
Chris has got his broadcast radio look right here, right now. And his...
You are tuning in.
Exactly.
To Comic Book Canon. What's up? Okay, so because my internet, needs to get kicked a few times. Unfortunately, I'm not in my awesome, cool, room surrounded by 18,000 comic books. I'm in my boring bedroom, but I got R2 hanging out today, so and I got the mic.
That's right. Chris made the effort to kind of personalize his room and without asking his wife if he was allowed to. So I guess that's okay. It won't. You know what? He's putting himself out there. He may get in trouble, but he's doing it for you, the audience, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You should too. Anyways, all right. So we got some news to get into, Chris. That is right. It is an exciting time to be a comic book fan. It is an exciting time to be fans of these characters. Guys, we had the Justice League just come out yesterday, Zack Snyder's cut. And today we had the premiere episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Oh my gosh, it did not disappoint. It did not disappoint at all. Let's just jump into it right now. That premiere was absolutely action-packed. And honestly, for me, I couldn't have asked anything more from it. It was, not only was it action-packed, first episode of 50 minutes of just insanity, but you also were able to explore, Falcon and his roots, dealing with what to do with, Cap's shield and that symbol as well. And then Winter Soldier. We haven't seen this before. We've seen hints of this, but him having to explore his mental health, having to be that type of person, that killer for decades, it wears on you. And it was interesting to see that go deeper. And I for one, I loved everything about it. Chris, your quick thoughts on Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I hear you. Like I said, I think a lot of people have to understand that we're jumping from one genre to the next, WandaVision to this, and you got to kind of restructure your mental state for that. This isn't the next episode of WandaVision. It's something completely different. And out the gate, it was just action, and just the visual effects were just done, so perfectly. It's not like we're sitting here watching TV. We're watching cinema happen.
This is what it's going to be.
Yeah,
it's got the production budget to support that, and it's so exciting to see.
Exactly. And then look, out the gate, now we get into this introduction of these characters in a different light than we've seen them before. Mm-hmm. And it kind of slowed down as we take these walks along these paths. But again, I look at this episode as being the first 20 minutes of a movie. We got that in the first 40 plus minutes of a 6-part movie, really. So it's just going to be one of those situations where even if there's critics right now, just like there were with WandaVision, oh, that first episode, this is garbage, but watch where it goes with each episode, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the reason Chris is saying that, because there are some haters out there already, and I just don't understand the hate. It couldn't have started, it couldn't have been, it was, anyways, I don't want to get too much into it. We're not going to get spoilers away. We'll leave that for the Q&A maybe if we have time later, and anybody can drop off that wants to. But there, obviously, when you have a new series, a new movie coming out, there are press junkets, and there are lots of information that come our way with those press junkets. And Mackie also wanted to let people know that there are going to be many surprises coming up. We can't say who they all are, but there are many surprises. He went on to also say our goal, and we've talked about this, I'll speak for Sebastian Stan, who was sitting right next to him, was not to mess it up. So we didn't want to make the first crappy Marvel project. Our job was to take the torch, not make a bad show. I'm very happy to say that Steve Rogers will be proud that our show does not suck. Guys, it absolutely doesn't. If you haven't seen it, wait for this show to end and go watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I, for one, super psyched with everything I saw from this first episode of this series. But Chris, you have some MCU news to continue on with. So why don't we have you just jump into it?
Yeah. Relating to, all things stars and stripes and shields, we have some news coming from Kevin Feige himself that debunks the rumor of Chris Evans returning to the MCU as Steve Rogers. This might break a lot of hearts out there, but in a recent interview that Feige did with Entertainment Weekly, he went on to speak and state that basically he denied any rumor of it, completely denied it, and said that we should not take anything regarding this seriously. And he went on to further state, quote, "I rarely answer no to anything anymore because things are always surprising me in what happens, but I think that rumor was dispelled quickly by the man, Chris Evans, himself." So there you go. I mean, for me, this is a blow. Let me reiterate that. I'm good with how they actually, I'm not. I'm good with how they let RDJ, Tony Stark's story off. I felt like I needed more Cap. But when that rumor started going around that Chris Evans was going to come back, I knew that they needed to do it in a specific way in order to not rupture that story arc that they still created. So, I'm okay with this, but it is disappointing. But at the end of the day, Jeff, I don't know about you, but I don't believe anything anyone ever says anymore, even Kevin Feige. I'm sorry. I don't know. That's just me.
I would say the same thing, but the thing here is Feige actually said, I don't say no normally, right, but I'm saying no to this. Who knows? Maybe that's his new curveball for us, right? Maybe you're like, I got you again, but I don't know. Let's be honest. They tied it up nicely, the end of the arc for Steve Rogers. It was very well done. And it had a bit like the bar was set high for any further projects with Chris Evans.
Right.
Who knows? Again, this is not definite. Things can absolutely change, but we'll see. By the way, I want to say hello to a few people. Como Comics is super jealous that we got Nerdy Girl on the show. Happy to hear that because we're super excited that she is here. We got Simply Chelex on the show as well. We got Prince Zodiac. We have who else do we have? We have all the we got Prime Time Treasure Hunter. Dominic's we're gonna see you in a few weeks on the show as well.
Yes.
Matt Stadge wants to know what is the beer choice for everybody. I got Yingling. Told you guys I'd find it. I got myself some Yingling. Anyways, happy to see you guys here. Really pumped. We're gonna have Nerdy Girl on in a bit, but we still have some news, guys. We still have some more news because Chris and I, we talk quite a bit about Marvel. It's near and dear to all of our hearts. Well, our hearts. I can't speak for you guys, but we always want to see DC succeed, right? We've never hated on DC. We've hated on what we've seen from DC, but we want to see DC succeed. They haven't in the past. And guys, I got to say, I saw the whole Zack Snyder 4-hour Justice League, and I'm happy. I loved it. I thought it was a far superior movie, far superior than what we saw from Joss Whedon's cut. This was surprisingly good. And guys, I have to say, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I was like, Joss Whedon's version, that was a 4 out of 10 for me. That was piss poor. This was entertaining. It was refreshing. I liked where the characters were going with this. They weren't annoying. There weren't those annoying little forced funny quips in that, in the previous film. And it was more connected. Everything was more connected. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it immensely, actually. And I surprised myself because I don't have much faith in DCEU or anything DC's pumping out in terms of their theatrical releases. Chris, your quick thoughts.
First off, giving the Whedon cut a 4 out of 10 is special, man. I give that movie like a 1.5, maybe a 2. Look, I watch everything twice when it comes to comic book stuff. At least I watched Justice League once. I thought about watching it again. That's how just bad it was. I've even watched Suicide Squad 3 times, and that movie is straight garbage, in my opinion. Ooh. So I went into this movie, and I'm going to tell you right away, I was so annoyed by the box format. I was like, honestly, it was hard for me to pay attention to probably the first 45 minutes because I didn't know what I was looking at. And I get it. Like if this movie was to be in the cinemas and in IMAX, whatever. Look, the bottom line is like, I just think it should not have been the case. I'm sure they could have reformatted it, even if it was shot that way, because they reformatted the Whedon cut. So whatever Snyder had already filmed, if it was 4:3, they formatted it then. It just, that really kind of threw me off. But putting that aside, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie much more than the Whedon cut. I like the second half better than the first half. The first half was very slow, but I understand why it was needed. All right. And so I got a few pinpoints, not to go down too much of a rabbit hole here, but I even took notes. I got it on my little notepad.
You're more prepared than I am. Yes.
All right. The reason why this movie had to be 4 hours long and why the first half was as slow as it was, backstory. They needed a backstory. We needed it. It doesn't matter if it made it slow. We needed it. Without that backstory, the second half of the movie that I enjoyed more, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. All right. Now here's the totality of it all and why there needed to be a backstory. There needed to be a backstory because Warner Brothers rushed into this. So my thing is this. Here's my thing. They fleshed out Steppenwolf. They fleshed out the cause and effect of everyone's intentions. Like before, it's like, oh, here's this guy showing up and he's big and bad. Why is he big and bad? I thought Steppenwolf was garbage, was whack. Like, and this is the big bad that you have. I really enjoyed his arc. They gave him more depth. We got backstories on the Flash and on Cyborg a lot more. But here's my thing. I still believe that all these backstories, I mean, you saw, just like and Snyder said this himself, there's no way that movie could have ever been made for a theatrical release. And that's because we needed a Flash movie before this came out. All right. We needed possibly an Aquaman movie before this movie came out. But what we did absolutely need was a Flash movie, because that Flash backstory that we got, that should have been his own movie. The only backstory that I thought actually fit in this movie was Cyborg's. I would have been all good with no Cyborg movie and just having him appear like he did with this backstory. Okay. Now here's my last thing, and this is looking at the DCEU as a whole. Snyder had a vision. Snyder had a vision, and he proved to us that he had a vision. Not only did he have a vision, but his vision set up so much stuff after this that if we don't get to see, it's going to be sad. He rewrote the garbage writing of Ayers' Joker, rewrote the wannabe coked out pimp Joker into a more fleshed out, solid Joker with a good actor playing him. And he took out, like you said, all the corny lines, like the "you smell good" line that Lois said to a dead man rising from the grave, like more like "you smell like freaking death and dirt." So big props to Snyder for cutting that out. I give him the GOAT status just for doing that. But here's my problem. Zack Snyder had a vision, but similar to Feige's vision. But Zack Snyder was also made the directors of all these films, and that's why it didn't work. That's why it didn't work. If Zack Snyder wants to be the Kevin Feige of the DCEU, and I'm not even blaming Snyder, this is Warner Brothers, this is the execs. They should have had, what I'm trying to get to is Zack Snyder does one thing and he does one thing good when it comes to directing. Dark, gloomy, and depressed. All right? That's it. You know, that's why, like, if you look at what he did with Man of Steel, the intro, his backstory was good because it was this kind of like, but I still say Zack Snyder doesn't understand Superman. All right? You can't have every character in the Justice League have the personality of a Zack Snyder. They need their own personality. What happens in the MCU? You get Spider-Man in his own films under his own director. He has that Spidey personality. You get Ant-Man in his own films. You get that Ant-Man personality. But when you bring him into an Avengers film, they have that Russo brothers Infinity Endgame personality. Boom. So I'm all good. If DC wants to keep Zack Snyder around, which I hope they do, they need to have him as a creative consultant to build the vision of the world and maybe do these team-up films as the director, but he only has creative direction under different directors that can bring the proper personality out of all these characters in their own standalone film. My last example is this: Patty Jenkins with the first Wonder Woman. The first Wonder Woman was Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 100%. But because Snyder was a consultant and a producer on that film, he was able to bring in that some of those undertones of that world, and it worked. And it worked. So there it is, guys. I can keep going. I'm gonna end it at that because I know we got more news to get to.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to harp that long on here, but I will say this Snyder Cut release does not redeem WB, does not redeem the execs, not one iota, not at all. Okay, this is their fault. They took us as fans for granted, think it was easy. Look at Marvel doing this thing. Look at Marvel building this universe. These people love these characters. They're just going to come and see this film. No, that's not how it worked. It sucked. All of it sucked, okay? And that's another thing. You stretch yourself too thin, you're not going to be good at what you do. And Zack Snyder is good at what he does. He has a vision, and he should have been allowed to see it through. You don't change the coach in the middle of a game. It's not going to work. All right, we're both ranting too much on because we're supposed to segue into this next part right here, which is, man, I'm getting too passionate here. I can't even bring up the assets here. Is Zack Snyder done with the DCEU, or is he not? We'll see, because basically what's happened here, since the cut has come out, Zack Snyder says on Jake's Takes, listen, as far as I know, this is all you're going to get from Zack Snyder's DCEU. The reality is I didn't think we'd do this cut, but stranger things have happened. Let's put it that way. However, not so fast, because that's him saying, put it to bed. I'm not going to continue on with the DCEU. Today, the EW releases an article where he says, Zack Snyder, I always go, what is more likely, says Snyder, that Warner Brothers would ask me to make a sequel to Justice League, or that they would resurrect a 3-year-old movie, spend millions of dollars to restore it to my original vision, and then release it. I think that the sequel would have been more likely scenario than what's just happened. So I guess in the face of that, I say, who knows what the future holds. Guys, this isn't over because it's getting such positive reviews. It's getting crazy social media buzz. People are going to want to see this continue. We'll leave it on this. DCEU is a mess. Warner Brothers is a mess. And AT&T does not know how to manage any of it. Okay? You've got to get the right people in the right places and trust them to do what they do, what they know how to do. That has never happened to DCEU. People have meddled too much, and the product sucks. Okay? I say there's 3 out of, 10 movies that are good, and that is not a good track record. Marvel maybe has 2 stinkers, and the rest, 23, 24 on top of the television projects we got going on. Excellent. You guys take the time to build the universe and do it right and trust the people that are talented enough to get you there.
Absolutely.
Woo! All right.
Yep.
Moving on. Moving on. We have one more story, and that is Marvel related. I'm going to let Chris take it away. Go for it.
All right. So we have Captain America's
America always character.
That is
time. You did it again, Chris. You froze up. Let's have you go. Go one more time.
I apologize, guys. As I was saying, it is the 80th anniversary of Captain America this year, and with that comes a new Captain America character, and this is a new LGBTQ activist taking up a Cap mantle. And there it is, as we see on this cover right here. So to kick off the 80th anniversary, since the creation of Captain America, Marvel announced a new 5-part series titled The United States of Captain America. The story will focus on all the heroes that have held the mantle of Cap at some point in the past, including obviously Steve Rogers, Bucky, Sam Wilson, and John Walker. But there's also a side story that will focus on an openly queer teenager named Aaron Foster, who you see here on this cover. Aaron Fisher. Aaron Fisher is a runaway that was inspired by Captain America, Steve Rogers himself, to take up a shield and defend those that cannot help themselves, with Marvel calling him the Captain America of the railways. So what we also have here too is that co-creator artist Jan Basaldua is a trans woman herself. So to have, creative voice behind an LGBTQ character, I think that, and Jeff and I have talked about this in the past, that is how you represent, in my opinion. So really, you got a situation. This launches in June, which is Pride Month. All right. And there's some really interesting numbers that I think we should look at here. 20 to 40% of runaways identify as LGBTQ. All right. And LGBTQ individuals experience homelessness at a rate of 120% higher than any other group, any other marginalized group. So I've already experienced all the backlash already surrounding this character. It's out there. It's crazy. And this is what I have to say about this. These are real life people that exist in this world. Jeff and I have talked about, if you want to do representation in comic books, if you want to be inclusive in comic books, whether it's minorities or multi-ethnic or more women or LGBTQ or whatever the case may be, you got to be genuine with the approach, and you got to get creators behind these characters that understand the real life situations in depth behind it, which Marvel has done with this. And we have to keep in mind too, this is a new individual that's inspired by Steve Rogers, by Captain America. This isn't somebody taking the mantle. Steve Rogers like dies or is old, and now somebody's coming in and taking the mantle. This is somebody looking at this Captain America figure and idolizing him and saying, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, young, old, man, woman, queer, trans, it doesn't matter. They stand up and represent me. So I'm going to stand up and try to represent people that I can help protect. And that's what Marvel's doing. So that's why I don't want to hear any type of negative hate around this. Look, Jeff and I always say too, if the story's bad, then the story's bad. The story's not out yet. I haven't read it yet. So we can't sit and say, oh, that story was garbage. What they're doing here, though, is speaking to real life individuals that are out there in the world. And the last thing I'm going to say about this is a side story that's in the back pages of a story focused on Steve Rogers. So anybody that, can't see this for what it is, I really ask you to question why it may be rubbing you the wrong way.
Well said. And here's the thing. If there's any character to kind of do this with, it's Captain America, because he's always said he's more of a representation of an ideal and belief of this country, which is, there are some tensions these days, and there's not inclusivity, and there's a lot of that. But for somebody to be able to take the mantle, not the mantle, but to take these ideals as a person and who's true to themselves, I'm all for it. I'm excited to see what they do with it. And I think people should be open-minded in reading it. Again, if the story sucks, the story sucks. But I applaud them for what they're doing and sticking, and sticking to their guns by keeping with their ideals on inclusion, because we say it, it seems every week, representation matters. And you need to have not only these characters there, but the people who understand these characters, who themselves have dealt with these real world issues, being able to write about it. So
right.
That's
and
what
look,
have to say.
Yeah, and this is all about what Stan Lee was doing when he was doing what he was doing in the 60s. I don't care what anyone says, we talk about real life issues and bring light on real life people. And guys, this is a 5-issue series. It's a 5-issue series. If it's not for you, there's something else on the shelf for you to pick up, and let's just respect each other and continue to enjoy the hobby without having to bring anything negative into it. Because if it isn't for you, best believe there is somebody that's going to pick this book up and say, man, this really speaks to me. This gives me pride in who I am as a human being, and gives me hope for my future.
Absolutely. I already see a few people here saying they're going to pick it up. Peter Thornton, I'm going to pick it up myself. Matt S is going to pick it up as well. Again, if the story sucks, I'm not going to pick up, I'm not going to, whatever. I'll say it sucks.
But, right.
But let's hope it doesn't suck. I hope it's great. And, anyways. And one last piece of news here. One last piece of Marvel news. That is right. Oh, man, there's a Venom sequel delay. Let There Be Carnage will be coming out on September the 17th, not June the 25th. So we'll have to wait about 3 extra months for this. But you know what? We got so much content to be consuming these days. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. It's a great time to be alive as a comic book fan. I never thought I'd see this day, and I'm happy that I am. Anyways, that's the news for this week. We appreciate you guys sticking around for that. Now we have the show is just going to be infinitely better. We're bringing on an amazing guest, guys. That is right. Her name is Nerdy Girl Comics. That's right. You guys may know her from Instagram. Her IG sales. She is on top of it in this comic book game, and we are so happy to have her. Danielle, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey.
Really appreciate having you on the show. Really appreciate you taking the time just to hang out with us and be our guest co-host.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Now, before you become a guest co-host, though, we have to put you through the fire, and that's interviewing you. This is a tough interview that most people don't make it out alive. I'll be honest.
I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know. Hey, gorgeous.
Take a breath. If you got a drink by your side, just take a sip. You'll be okay.
I saw we're drinking beer, so I'm like, all right, I gotta fit in. I'll go grab a beer. So that.
What do you got?
This is Victory Golden Monkey, so it's like 9.5%. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Golden Monkey, man.
Good on you.
What's that name?
Okay.
Right, it's a good name, right?
Absolutely. All right, so we're just gonna get right into it. So, you are one that has admitted that you've only gotten into this hobby in the past maybe 15 years. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of got into it because you saw the enthusiasm of people like buying all these older books and investing in these books, and that kind of drew you in. Can you tell us a little bit about why that drew you in?
Well, my boyfriend was doing comic books when I met him, and that was really my entryway into this. And then once I went to shows and I got to see like this camaraderie and this, like, I always say it's like an underground secret society of people in like the comic book community where, like, if you don't know anything about it, then you think it's just like a bunch of nerds and these people that are antisocial. But once you get to know people and you get to go to shows and you get to connect, you realize, this is like a great group of people. I've made some of my best friends through comic books. Obviously, I've caught a lot of flack in the past for being a non-reader. I have been searching for a book to read. I thought about doing the Ghost Rider series, but maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe I won't like it. I'm not a huge reader to begin with.
That's fine. You won't know till you try. That's fair.
Have you ever read any Donny Cates?
No.
And I bring this up. I know it may sound cliche because he's so popular right now, but Donny Cates is a good writer, but an easy read. That's how I describe him. Like, you can read an issue of a Donny Cates issue in a matter of just a few minutes.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, what's his best storyline, do you think?
Ooh, Jeff, you want to?
I mean, I'm enjoying Donny Cates' Venom run up until probably the mid-20s, but I would suggest, honestly, starting out with that Venom run is pretty sweet. The very beginning of that, it's the most recent series.
Okay,
really,
I'm gonna try it.
Go for it. Yeah,
I'm gonna try it.
Listen, we know you appreciate books because I've heard you say in the past you appreciate the artwork in general. And
oh my gosh, the artwork, the history, it's all of it. Like, it's not just, and honestly, I deal in mostly vintage books, and a lot of like the golden age stories, they suck. A lot of people will tell you they're not good. Like, they're very cheesy, and like there's a lot of fluff in the middle of them, right? Because it wasn't just, if you go back to the golden age, it's not just a story. It's like 4 stories, 5 stories. And once you get into like the world's finest, there's even more. So you have like a lot of fluff with like one major primary story in those books.
Yeah, definitely. It's a little kind of like, those aren't the best books to, as an adult, kind of draw you in, I would have to say. And it was a different kind of mentality in terms of creating and reading and all that stuff. But as you say, it touches upon history. It touches upon, like, during the war, like World War II, comic books were like huge for us, like.
And they shared what was going on, right? I think that's what draws me to them, because I love history. And to me, it's like watching, they're telling you when Captain America is fighting Hitler on Cap 1, that was before we even entered the war. And it was like a precursor of, hey guys, by the way, we're about to go to war with Germany. And when they started putting out the war bond covers, it's, hey, you should buy war bonds. We need the money, and you need to burn books because we need energy and heat to survive right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do it in an amazing segment on here produced by our good friend Tom Tormey, Cosmic Minute, where he delves into historic, these little tidbits of information of history during during the past.
Oh, he froze. I'm glad it's not
I want to
me.
get your thought on this.
Oh, I'm glad it's not me. Jeff froze for the first time, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, that was Chris. It was his. I'm still going to blame.
I was sending it over to you. I was texting you.
Anyways, I don't know where I was, but we're going to move on with this interview. It had to have been your internet affecting me somehow, Chris. It had to have been.
Right.
It couldn't have been mine.
Yeah, it's coming through the microphone.
But anyways, just so we clear this all up, this is what you do for a living, Danielle, correct? This is you buy and sell books, and that's like kind of, I guarantee you 90% of the people watching right now are probably like, I wish I can do that. How did you end up being like, you know what? I want to make this full time.
It just kind of happened organically, if I'm being honest. It was a different market 15 years ago. And, we made a lot of moves where restored books were selling cheap. So we're buying restored books. And then they picked up. And it was just a lot of very smart moves that kind of fell into place. And some really great collections along the way that kind of propelled everything. And it's like, you know what? I don't want to go have a boss. No one's the boss of me. And like, I don't do well with listening and directions, and I need to have my own business and then it's like the whole community, right? Like I started doing conventions and setting up at shows, and I got to meet people.
Yeah, it's an amazing community, and being able to be drawn into that, but also being able to make a living. That's a dream job for most everybody on here that's listening to, us talking.
It's definitely a grind. Like I will say, going back to like 15 years ago, there was so much turn, burn, going through like all the modern books and picking up like 100, 200 long box collections. And it was like grueling. But I always tell people like, quality over quantity. And so as you move that quantity, turn it into single books or like 5 books, and then you just keep growing that. Yeah.
It's easier said than done. So kudos to you for doing it, like, and being consistent in it, and being smart and knowing how to invest. Right. And speaking of, by the way, Como Comic Books gave you a shout. If you're not following Danielle on IG, you're missing out. You guys all need to be following her, no doubt. This is her Instagram right here. There's an easy link in the description as well as her YouTube. I know you're not that active on YouTube, but in case you ever do, please everybody subscribe to her.
I was thinking of starting like a Throwback Thursday series.
Do it.
And going back to like old collection stories and like the highlights of them. Yeah.
Absolutely. We encourage you. You've already got the followers on Instagram. You've already got the personality for it. You've already got the knowledge for it. There's no reason you're not doing it. You got a nice setup there too. You're fine. Just do it. Just go for it.
I have to get out of my head and just dive in. That's
no better time than now. However, speaking of right now, Chris has got the next question because Chris has the business mind of the two of us, and he's got an interesting question for you.
Yeah. So first off, I love your approach that you just shared. I actually, even being on the business side of things in life, I just started getting into the selling of the comic books because I'm such a hoarder of a collector that it's hard for me not to, become emotionally attached, but I'm learning. So
the vicious cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. But I wanted to ask, so you've been heavy in this for 15 years, seeing, I think you were getting into it right at a time where the industry was shifting from the downturn of what had happened in the 90s. The independents like Image were really booming, where you had like a Walking Dead series come out. I think that pulled a lot of people back into comic books. You had events like House of M and Civil War in Marvel that pulled more people back in comic books. So writing these last 15 plus years or so, there's been a lot of critics from mostly, on the collector side that are really, I think, stuck in a pre-era, like pre-90s era or pre-modern era, to where anything that happens in this market, in this industry, in this day and age, it's like a negative. So some of those are like, the variant market and what they're doing with variants, or, the signature series signings at CGC and things like that. My question is, what are your thoughts on these, I would say,
these hype are happening?
Right. Well, the variables in the industry right now that a lot of people see as, say, gimmicky.
So I personally, I'm not a fan of the variants. I understand why people want to collect them, but I don't think, and I've talked about this on my Instagram a couple of times, where like people have to buy, shop owners have to buy 25 copies to hopefully get one of the variant. And so they're charging so much more, first of all, and then they're selling for even more because everyone's chasing, and it's a supply and demand, but it's not a natural supply and demand. It's a created supply and demand. And that for me is not the same thing, because like they're intentionally doing this, right? And you're going to have a lot of 9.8s. They're almost all going to grade out at 9.8 because they're brand new. They're going to go get pressed. It's not going to be rare.
Right.
And so people are paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for these books. And for me, like, I'm all about collect what you like, do what makes you happy. But you can go buy like a significant key issue for that same price. And to me, I'll never tell someone, yeah, sure, go spend $500 on a book that they fake created the hype for. It's not like, go ahead.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel like certain variables of collecting, like these variants, how do you feel that affects then the blue chip key market, so a market that you're more privy in, when it comes to either bronze, silver, or golden age key books? Do you feel like there is any kind of correlation between the two? And is that correlation negative or positive at all? Or
no, I feel like you're comparing apples to oranges doing that, to be honest with you. I feel like it's two different sets of collectors. The people, for the most part, who are going out and chasing down that one of 25 versus going out and buying a Spidey 300 are usually not the same people, because they're kind of different markets. Or to go back a little further, a Werewolf by Night 32, that's a better example. You can go buy a 1 of 25 9.8, or you can go buy a 6.0 Werewolf by Night 32. And it's two different groups of people. So it's really hard to say that it affects that side of the market. My opinion is, if you ask me, go buy that Werewolf by Night 32. It's significant for comic books. It's not something that publishers banded together and said, hey, we're going to start doing all these variant covers because we want to drive this market, and people have a bunch of money right now that they don't know what to do with, and they don't always know about the history. They just see, well, this is trendy right now, and I'm going to ride this hype train.
Right.
That's what it is.
So in close on the variant topic then, so are you at all concerned about the money that's flowing into the variant industry?
Taking away from...
Exactly. Taking away from the market that you're...
No, because I have to be honest, my jaw is dropping all the time lately. Like, this market is so strong. Like, I wish I didn't sell stuff before I did. I wish I had more books, because like, and I knew this was coming, because I don't just do comic books. If you follow my Instagram, I also do video games. I collect comic book art. I'm paying attention to Pokemon and baseball cards and sports cards. And I'm like, comic books have to have this boom, right? Because like video games are skyrocketing and original art is out of control. And comic books are just the next natural progression. Did I think X-Men 1 and FF1 were going to pop off the way they did so quickly? Hell no. but here we are. So I don't think that people pouring that into variants is affecting my business.
Awesome.
That's good to hear. That's really good to hear. And
sorry, I got on like a DCU rant.
Nah,
that was great.
Not yet. Not yet. And you know, 15 years is a nice long run for what you've been doing. So there has to be some excellent stories that you have. So like for you, is there like an amazing experience that you've had, whether it be helping somebody or inspired by somebody or finding somebody a book or finding you a book? What is like something that comes to mind, like one of the best experiences that you've had doing this?
I mean, I would have to say one of the best moments was getting to hold an Action Comics 1 run, flip through the pages, and knowing that after like a 15-year, 14-year back and forth with this guy, this finally came to fruition. And I have like a picture that I post every once in a while, and it's me holding an Action 1, and I'm surrounded by an Action Comics run, 200 to 400 around me, and I'm sitting in the middle of it. And fortunately, we have like a loft in our house, so that's how we were able to take that picture. But we bought that collection raw. It was, the guy had it for like 40 years, 50 years. It was probably the closest thing for me to an original owner Action Comics full run that I'll ever get. And to hold that and flip through and sniff those pages, and it was crazy. Listen, I'm a page sniffer.
No,
Don't get
we talk about this like every few weeks.
Yeah, we were just talking.
We talked about it last week too. Like literally, we talk about it every. It's the best.
It is, and books have their own distinct smells. Like depending on where they come from, what era they're from, you can smell the history.
That's the incredible thing. Like the new books today, and I don't want to sound like in our day, but like the new books today, they may as well be plastic. Yeah, it's. Anyways,
you know what we need to create some type of air mist that's like a like vintage comic book air mist. Yeah, spray a little mist on that new book, and then there you go.
It's still
something with that.
You know, you probably do, actually. Chris, again, another business question related to COVID.
All right. So, okay. We've had LCS shop owners on the show and talking about how they've had to adapt during COVID. I've heard some stories of LCSs obviously struggling, some ultimately shutting down. Others have boomed, really taking advantage of some different outlets. For you and how you've, I would say both probably purchased and then sold, once COVID hit and now being here, we've been here for 1 year. Can you kind of just touch on how COVID has affected you? How do you think it's affected, the buyers that you interact with? And have you been able to make good of it? Or is it kind of a give and take? You've seen a lot of negative and positives.
So my only negative is I can't replenish. Like that's honestly, I have to say, I've had probably my greatest year I've ever had. And sometimes I feel kind of guilty saying that. Like mentally, it's been a complete, are we allowed to swear on this show?
Yeah. We're drinking beers.
Mind fuck, right? Like just completely. Because we are very isolated. I'm down in Florida, and it's like the wild, wild west down here. No one follows mask rules, and everyone's just everywhere. So I still get groceries delivered. We're still very home. My daughter is still doing virtual school. So like on a mental side, I feel for people because we're still very isolated. But on a business side, I have to say, like, this market I think is stronger than it's ever been, right? People aren't going on vacations. A lot of people who were spending big money still have their jobs. If anything, they're going to keep their jobs and they're never going to have to go back to an office again because their employers realize, hey, we don't have to pay for office space and they can still do their job. People aren't going out to restaurants anymore, and the stock market is crazy. And this happened back in like 2010, 11, when the stock market was kind of crashing some. where when the market gets overinflated or drops, people look for tangible assets to put their money into. And comic books and video games are tangible assets. They can buy them, they can display them, they can show them off to their friends, and they can brag about them. And so I have to say, I feel for comic book stores. I've never had a storefront. For me, it's never made sense. I go to conventions and set up. If anything, Instagram has been such a blessing for me, truly. Like my Instagram page has just blown up this last year. I've met a lot of really cool people. I've done a couple live sales now. I'm going to keep doing some live claim sales because those are really fun. And I try to drop in some lower dollar value stuff too, because I know people are like, you only sell really expensive stuff. And so I've been trying to really be mindful of bringing in a bigger variety and like going through some of my boxes that have just been sitting. But I've had literally one of my best years.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Again, it's a weird time. It definitely is a weird time. And guys, listen to Danielle's business sense here. Make sure you guys are following her too, by the way. I know a lot of you have already followed Nerdy Girl Comics, nerdy_girl_comics. Be sure to follow her because you're gonna be like probably insulted that I'm kind of likening you to this person, but Jim Cramer for Mad Money, he knows his shit, right? You know your shit inside and out about.
He knows what he's talking about.
Exactly. That's kind of what you're not like. What's that?
He said, I'm not annoying though. I mean,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. But like in terms of a mind and being on camera, again, you should probably start your own show here. But you know, these kind of business kind of oriented questions, a lot of people don't go into this thinking business like. I'm going to ask you a business question. Again, not my forte at all. This is, again, Chris has the business degree, but a lot of people are concerned about a bubble. Do you see that happening? Do you see it burst down? You know, once hopefully we get to some sort of normalcy. What do you see? I know it's hard.
You know, it's really hard because people have been saying there's going to be a bubble every year for the last 10 years. Literally every year I'm at shows and I hear other dealers talking about this is the bubble that's finally going to happen. And reality is there's so many people crossing over from different industries that bring different money in that I think there will be a pullback, right? Like a couple years ago, Amazing Fantasy 15 and 5.0 was selling for like $60,000. And there were a few sales that happened at that price and people woke up and they're like, whoa, why are we selling? Why are we paying this? And they dropped back down to like that 35 to 40 range. And now they're starting to tick back up again. But what happens is new floors get set. The ceiling is endless. New floors get set where like it can't go, and it's never going to go to zero, right? Because there's too much money invested in it. Like, there's a lot of big fish in this hobby. And if anything, they'll stockpile cash and wait for a drop to buy stuff up again. And then the cycle just continues. My problem is I don't have anything to buy. I buy a lot at shows. There are no shows. So not only now am I competing with, and I know other dealers are feeling the same way. We're like, now I'm not just competing with other collectors at auctions. I'm fighting against other dealers too, because we're all hungry.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
I like about the floor, because I talk about thresholds. The ceiling is endless, but I use the term threshold basically. And I say this probably countless times on my channel, in my videos every week. I say it on the show all the time where, and the same thing about the bubble. And honestly, I think people have been talking about the bubble popping since the 1970s.
I mean, it's a conversation. It's a timeless conversation.
Yes,
really.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I hear you. I don't think people really understand ebb and flow and don't understand, peaks and valleys, but right. Aren't savvy to the fact that even when books tend to drop and markets tend to dip out, there's that threshold or that floor, like you said, that's going to be stable and that's not going to cave in.
Like it just can't. There's too much money underneath it that holds the foundation up.
That's a good. Actually, that's really good insight. Again, you're not crazy like Kramer. You just have knowledge like Jim Kramer.
Don't tell people they're savvy here.
What's that?
Don't let the secret out that there's really some smarts up here.
Oh, come on. It's showing already. We don't, yeah, you're showing it. Anyways, we have some questions in the audience that they're throwing your way.
Some of those.
So Dan De La Torre, good friend Dan De La Torre, what's Daniel's opinion of the Marvel Silver Age market?
So, I mean, it's on fire, and rightfully so. I hope that Marvel finally does Fantastic Four justice.
Yes.
That series has been tried so many times. They fail every single time. So I'm hoping that now that the rights are back, that they finally do them some justice.
Chris and I have a saying. It's called trust in Feige. He has rarely let us down.
So in terms of the rest of the market, I mean, I think it just happens, right? Like it goes backwards, and the modern market is hot. The Bronze Age market, everything is hot right now. Silver Age is where it began for a lot of the big Marvel universe, for Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and Hulk. Hulk is starting to pick up now. I said Journey into Mystery 83 was undervalued, and now that book is creeping up. So nothing is really surprising me right now. As I said before, watching what other markets are doing, I'm surprised it took as long as it did for comics to start doing what they're doing now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Moving on real quick, because we want to move on. I mean, this has been a fantastic interview. You're a wealth of knowledge here.
The toughest, one of my hardest. Oh, that's the one you picked.
Yeah.
Have a couple. I had a Cap 185. That was really hard to let go of. But I was in a much different financial situation then than I am now. And I own the Marvel 190 for a hot second and never even got to hold it in my hands before another dealer swooped in and made an offer, and we just took a profit. So I would say those are two of them. And then Pep 34, I had an 8.5 copy. It was one of the highest graded copies. That like badass World War II. Oh, so good.
This is honestly, we could speak to you for hours. We don't have hours, unfortunately, but man, we got to get you back on there. You're gaining a lot of fans in this show today. Hey, by the way, I just want to throw this out there. Swaggle House, good friend Swaggle House Comics. The comic market has never been less volatile due to the films and pop culture. I highly agree with that. 100% there. So you have some mystery boxes that you do, right? You want to tell the audience about that?
So I don't know, because there were, I don't know how to address this topic. So I was really having fun with mystery boxes. You know what? I'll just keep it real. I was having a lot of fun with mystery boxes. I did have a few where people bought them and they never contacted me. They did an opening and kind of bashed me for them, but at the same time promoted their own mystery boxes. And I didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, that's
no problem with me. Come to me, talk to me about it. But if you're gonna, and you know, if someone puts my name in a title, it gets more clicks. I know that. Like, people know who I am. And I'm not saying that in an arrogant way. It's just the truth, right? You put Nerdy Girl Comics in a search and people search. My thing is, one of the guys he kept going in the comments, even though I reached out to him privately, and there were like 3 people. I reached out to each of them privately. I refunded them all. And it was just, it didn't sit right with me.
Got it.
I offered to make it right however I could, but you can't only, and I guess it goes back to like CGC sometimes, where like people post the bad, right? People don't always talk about the good, but people will always talk about the bad. So for me, mystery boxes are not like a huge profit thing. They're very much a labor of love to let people get stuff. My daughter helped do our last round, and a couple did get a little jacked up. I'm thinking about doing them again, maybe on a very limited basis, but I enjoy doing claim sales way more.
Okay, all right. We'll let the claim box go. However, you do have T-shirts though.
Yeah.
Let's see
Thank you
those.
for promoting my mystery boxes for me. I still get people messaging me and asking me about them, saying like, "Are you going to do more?" All of a sudden, I've been getting more requests for them.
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe.
Well, hopefully this communication helps a little bit, but we want to see those shirts now too that you've been talking about.
So I'm really excited. I've been working on this, and I couldn't figure out what kind of logo to do. A dealer friend of mine came up with like a semi logo and stickers. Yes, girl. And then I contacted a tattoo artist, and he whipped this up for me, and I fell in love.
Nice.
So
Oh yeah, that's great.
5 shipped. I have a black with white logo. And then I did a white with pink.
That is terrific.
So
I dig it. I love it. I love the style.
Yeah,
right?
I'm in on a black T-shirt. I will hit you up for the link, no doubt. That's fantastic. And you know, Simply Challix is insisting stickers. As you can see.
He loves their stickers.
No, I do. They're 2 for $5. I'll show you. I did the same thing. They're so cute. Love.
Nice.
Nice. Those are great. Yeah.
So I can't see myself right. There we go.
That's a great logo. Loving it. All right. So we have one more question for this interview. It seems like you've made it through unscathed, but this one may ruin you.
This one might be too hard.
Chris, ask away.
Oh man. Well, see, the way I would ask it though isn't the way that most people will ask it. But I'm just gonna add. I won't add any context to the question. Okay. And Danielle, we'll just see how you answer this. Jeff, you probably know what I'm talking about because people are there's so many layers to this. I'm just gonna shoot. Here we go. Hulk 180 or Hulk 181?
181. Come for me.
You see, there's no. Okay,
a cameo is not a first appearance. A cameo in one panel on the last page, that is not a full first appearance. It just gives you a glimpse of what's to come. It's like an ad page.
It's not so you just said it's not a full, and I agree, but it's a first cameo.
It's like a premonition.
So would you declare 180 still as the first appearance of Hulk?
It's a cameo.
Excuse me. Would you let me finish the whole? See, context matters. Would you consider Hulk 180 the first appearance of Wolverine in cameo?
That's like a trick question where you're trying to get me to answer a trick question. And I'm going to say it's like a premonition of what's to come. It's like an ad page.
I dig it.
That's a great description. I've never heard it described that way. I'm down with that. I agree. 181 is the first appearance.
Came up with that.
That's really good. You heard it here first from Nerdy Girl. By the way, all right, that was you did it. You unscathed.
So now I'm in.
You did it. Everybody, by the way, we're going to move on to the next segment, but I'm just reminding y'all, follow Nerdy Girl Comics on Instagram. Links are below. That was an excellent interview. Really appreciate the insight you've given us and our audience as to the business side of things and investing and how you go about it. So absolutely, insightful, and we really appreciate that. But now it's the next part of our show, and you have responsibilities as a guest co-host, okay?
I hope I can handle them.
So do we, because if you can't, you're going to ruin the show. But here we go. Here we go. Our next segment here is called Fresh from the Comic Shop, Fly from the Pressing Salon. I say this every week. That's a Fresh Prince, DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince summertime reference. Just want to throw that out there. We think it's fun. What we do here, everybody, we pick out our 5 new fresh gets. These could be from your local comic book shop. They could be, your mail calls. They could be AOKs. They could be old books. They could be new books. They could be 3 days old. They could be decades old. It doesn't matter. We like to share those things with you. that we have, but also you guys share as well. Please share in the comments. We have a ton of people, though, that have sent in their pics. They tagged us on Instagram. By the way, guys, follow us on Instagram as well, at Comic Book Canon. Tag us on there each week, what you got fresh gets. I don't think we have a oh, we do. Look at that. Follow us on Instagram at Comic Book Canon as well. Tag us on in a picture as to what you got fresh from the comic shop, and we will show it off here. You know what? We're going to start off actually with our audience real quick. We're going to start off real quick. Our guest last week, Danielle, that was sitting in your seat, not literally, but, you know, figuratively, was sitting in your seat, Hood Rat Comics. He got the Star Wars Insider 2021 Souvenir Edition. Apparently this thing is hard to find. I didn't know anything about this, but I think this is a hard get. So congratulations on that, Hood Rat. Our good friend Hood Rat, really appreciate you on the show last week. It was a lot of fun. But moving on, though, we're going to have you go first, Danielle. And honestly, I'm calling this right now. You're going to blow ours out the water. We know, we get it. She's not bragging. This is just her living. So
this is literally showed up today. So
exciting. Let's do it.
I feel like I'm being too extra.
No. The biggest we had on here was an Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yes.
That's very close. That's very close.
Oh man.
Good for you.
Hold on, one at a time.
One at a time. You're breaking the rules. It's one at a time. Breaking the rules. Yeah.
Oh,
no big deal.
You didn't tell me I could only do one.
You know what? We didn't go over the rules with you.
That's not my fault.
No, that's our fault, and we'll take that. Yep. We'll take that responsibility.
Great. Yep. Now you made me show my second one ahead of time, and I only have 4.
But let's talk about that first one because that's quite the book. Yes. Let's see it again, please. First one.
Yeah. Whose signature's on there?
It's Stan.
Yeah. Of course it is. That. Good for you. That's a 6.5, isn't it?
Yeah.
Outstanding. That's good work. That is excellent. Honestly, you're going to crush it. You are going to absolutely crush it. All right, Chris, you are next. What do you got fresh from the comic shop this week?
Can I fold?
I mean,
is that part of the game? Can I fold?
Who played after Jimi Hendrix on Woodstock?
You gotta show your hand. You gotta show your hand.
I'll go. I have no shame. This is going to be so pathetic. Feel like, I'll go, you know.
Okay.
I hit up the dollar bins every once in a while, and I'm always picking up this character, and I like this cover here. It's the Unbelievable Gwenpool variant cover, action figure. I just like the cover. That's number one. Okay, moving on. Chris, you're up now. Chris, it's your turn.
All right. Well, look, this one is a personal grail for me. It's one that I've never owned. I own the reprint. I have never owned in the past. I own it now. I've owned the reprint because I got it with the toy years ago. And I just never owned the original copy. And I finally pulled the trigger. It's not as high as a grade as I wanted it, but I'm a huge Transformers fan.
Yes, that's good.
Finally got me
so good.
Transformers #1.
Hey, that's been picking up though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It absolutely has. That is. What's it looking like on there? What's the condition?
You know, it's got, you can't really see it in the bag, but it's got some color breaking, what I call finger crinkles.
Creases, yeah.
But if I'm going to give it a press, it's going to smooth it out. But, you know, I'd put it at probably it's got some spine ticks. It's a decent mid-grade copy with the press. So
that's really nice.
It presents well. That's what matters to me.
That's what matters. It's a little personal grail of yours.
Yep, definitely. I just want to also point out Joseph Vall picked up 6 copies of Ultimate Fallout 4 second print.
Smart, yeah.
That's a good pickup right there, man. That is absolutely a good pickup. All right, we're going to move on to our audience again. We got good friend Joe G. Guys, he's got the Boom.
That's a great cover.
Yeah, this just came out. It's the Ashcan. It's the Magic series by Boom. This thing is picking up as well. This thing is getting a lot of heat. It's a really great. It is a nice cover.
Now,
what's that?
This is a very naive question. Is it based on Magic the Gathering?
It is.
It's so dope.
Yeah, they're reviving the series.
Yeah,
I think there was a preview book that came out this week. That one, my shop, it was brand new. It was going for $50. So this is the Ashcan version. So that's a nice pickup. Danielle, you will appreciate this pickup here. He has though. He's got a
get some.
110, 3.5.
That's
Dr. Strange.
well. That's looking really nice. That presents very well. Good on you, Joe G. Thank you for sharing, guys. Again, it's as easy as hitting us up on Instagram, tagging us what your fresh gets are, and we'll share them with everybody this week. Danielle, it's Danielle's turn, guys, and she's gonna kill it again. Here we go.
Well, we already sneak peeked it.
But I want to see it again.
Let's get a full peek. There we go.
Jesus, 6'5", beautiful. Avengers 1, everybody. Oh my gosh, that you were gonna have the best out of. I mean, we did have the Amazing Fantasy 15, but you were gonna have the best collection of this fresh from. This will be the best fresh from the comic shop of all time because of you, and we appreciate that.
I hope nobody beats me ever.
No, you're gonna crush it. Screw it. I'm just gonna go. I don't care.
Let's do it.
No, I got no shame. Here we go. My comic book shop manager suggested this one. It was a really good read, actually.
I'll get
it
you.
really was.
Message me.
You're going to be able to find this anywhere. This is Nightwing 78. This starting a fresh new series. So Danielle, actually, you may be able to read this and have an understanding as to what's going on in terms of not having too much backstory weigh you down.
I like those kinds of books.
This was really good. I really enjoyed this. This is my pick read of the week. I really did. I love this. Yeah. So
is that the cover A?
Yeah, this is cover A.
How many covers are there on that one?
There's 2. There's a variant. I don't remember who did the variant, but it's another bullshit kind of variant thing that we were talking about as well before. So, but yeah, that's what I got right there. Chris, before we get into you, let's just get into our audience again, see what they got real quick. Here we go. We have, who do we have? We have, B. Schnurr, my fellow Yingling drinker. We have B. Schnurr, Tales of Suspense 64. He says he got this awesome early appearance of Hawkeye the other day. That's a nice pickup, nice Silver Age pickup right there. I'm loving the cover of it looks like Hawkeye versus Iron Man. Really am digging that. Good on you, Mr. Schnurr. Chris, man, it's your turn. What do you got?
All right. So another one that this book was recently on my top 100 for under $100 key books to invest in. This book is X-Men related. I'm big on going after some X-Men books right now because we know that the market for X-Men books is just going to go crazy once we see them in the MCU, right? And this is Wolverine number 10.
Nice.
The first battle of Sabretooth and Wolverine in a Wolverine title.
That's a great one. And that's such a great cover too.
Yeah. That's a Buscema. I'm not sure if it's Sal or John, but it's a beautiful one. Yeah, that's definitely a nice cover. And that thing's moving up too. Obviously, for obvious reasons. Let's hope they meet again on screen. That'd be amazing.
So good.
Absolutely.
Definitely. All right. No Planet Arizona. You did not miss the Cosmic Minute. You did not miss the Cosmic Minute. I'm excited to see what Danielle thinks about the book we talk about, or Tom talks about in the Cosmic Minute, seeing if she's had experience with that book. All right, moving on. Danielle, up again. Let's go. Knock it out the park again.
Okay. Avengers 55.9.
Oh, 9.8?
8. Wow.
Jesus. Oh my God, she is killing it. She is absolutely. By the way, everybody, she just grabbed a random stack of books. She just, I'm sure she just walked by her desk. Oh, so it's just. That is outstanding. A 9.8. Good on you. Good on you. Good on you. All right, moving on. Yeah, it's my turn. This one actually.
Look, I got myself speechless.
It's incredible. But I'm gonna say something here. Actually, before I do, I'm gonna go to our audience. We have Coveted Comics. He picked up a homage, the Batman 251 homage, Joker #1. This is a variant from our good friends at State of Comics. That's right, Ryan from State of Comics was on the show a couple months ago, and actually debuted this image, this cover on our show. It's beautiful. Really digging that. And he also got Coveted Comics. An Avengers versus X-Men #1, the Scotty Young variant. So those are some nice pickups, man. Thank you for sharing Coveted Comics. And here we go. Here's my third pick here. I'm a hypocrite. I had to get it, though. Once we had Ryan on here, I had to support him. And this is the Joker #1 251 homage, Batman homage cover. This is by Neil Adams, by the way, everybody, which is really cool. And they have a second issue that's coming out. It's another variant with Neil Adams. I can't remember what the homage is to that. Chris, you may know. I'm not sure. It looks.
Oh shoot!
This is beautiful.
I forget off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, we'll have to get back. Maybe Ryan will let us know. We'll shout it out. But Chris, now it is your turn. What is your third book on Fresh from the Comic Shop?
All right. Well, I'm going. I'm bringing it down. I'm bringing it down some earlier years. This is a sought after book. It's not a 9.8 nowhere near, but I'm happy I own it. Fantastic Four #112.
Hey, great
Hulk
book.
versus Thing.
I think that's still very undervalued.
Yeah, it's got a little bit. It looks like a taper it there or something. A little bit of a spine roll. Again, a good book to press up, but I mean the black still looks decently solid. It's got a lot of rounding down here, but I just love the fact that I own this book.
I will say something too. We're pretty close to having a Hulk, and not pretty close, but the possibility is there to have a Hulk and Thing kind of battle. And any of these books. Epic. Yeah, absolutely. On screen, seeing that, especially the MCU just doing that. Any of these books, Hulk vs. Thing, I would be picking those up. Books like that too, especially the earlier kind of meetings. Yeah. It's definitely a good pickup because once it's even sniffed out that they may meet up, they're gonna fight, no doubt about it. They are gonna fight because that's what we want to see. That's absolutely what we all want to see. So, and Tom Tormey agrees with us as well. Can't go wrong with a Hulk vs. Thing fight. Tom, we got your segment coming up, Cosmic Minute, as I've been teasing this whole episode. Anyways, let's get into another audience member. What do you got? Simply Chelex. She wants us to call her Michelle. I like saying Simply Chelex, though. She picked up
Get it, girl.
The Return of the Jedi run. I guess that's 83. That's a 4-issue miniseries from Marvel. Okay. Those are some nice looking covers right there. I like how they are displayed as well. But this is what I'm really impressed with. I'm really digging this pickup that she got here, which is Secret Wars #1, double signed by Mike Zeck. Oh, yeah. But not only the book, she got the poster. She framed the poster. It is ready to go. Fantastic presentation. Really pumped for her. Those Mike Zeck books are not. What do you guys think? They deserve more love, in my opinion. I don't think he's.
Oh, for sure. I just don't think it's here yet.
It's crazy to me because he's so iconic. Because we were all younger, 30 years ago. He left such an impression on me, and when I was first looking at comic books, just the facial gestures, the poses, G.I. Joe, Punisher, all that stuff. Incredible work, and he deserves. I think he's undervalued. I think he deserves way more love. For
sure. I think that it's coming though, right? Because 90s is really just starting to pick up in late 80s and early 90s. They're really just starting to
you're right.
gain momentum and get the appreciation. I mean, the covers alone are just ritalent.
Incredible.
The detail.
Absolutely. That Secret Wars. Just awesome.
He's got some work too that I think, talking about being optioned or, being pulled into the MCU with Secret Wars and even his, Kraven's Last Hunt work, when you see something like that in the MCU. I still believe that the next big crossover event, the next big thing in the MCU was going to be Secret Wars. And I keep saying it's going to be a mix of the 84 Secret Wars with the 2015 Secret Wars kind of blended together. So. Yeah. So I got to meet Mike Zeck a couple years ago at a con and got a couple signed posters from him too. And hey, look, not only is he just, I think, undervalued as an artist, he has one of the nicest signatures in my opinion. I love his signature. It's
hard to see it in this picture that Michelle sent a few pictures in to us. It's kind of hard to see his signature there, but it's there.
Yeah, it's like, where's Waldo? There it is, under the secret. There it is.
Yeah, it's above Hulk. But anyways, thank you for sending those in, Michelle. All right, so Danielle, we have your 4th book coming up. I can't even venture to guess what it is.
Well, I think can I save my 4th book for my last one? And can I do a game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've never done a game for Fresh from the Comic Shop. You're the first. Let's do it. What's the game?
Can I do a twofer so I can save my last book?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll make my own rules. Is that okay?
Let's do
You're
it.
doing it.
Like-
It's fine.
Break the rules.
Okay. So this one I'm so excited about because I don't know if you guys watched the trailer for Mortal Kombat, but while we're talking about trailers, that looks legit.
Mhm.
So this is like super high grade. It's an 85 plus sealed Mortal Kombat.
Nice.
And I mean, this is probably one of the greatest franchises. Minecraft, sealed, super high grade, 9.4.
That's incredible. Like I'm ignorant to the ways and the collectability. I know about the collectability of video games, but like Minecraft seems like it's so recent, and to have it like, I mean, obviously it's a major collectible. Am I right?
But they didn't. It's a huge collectible. It's still not super expensive. You can still get raw copies for under a couple $100s on eBay. At auction, they'll sell for $600, $700, $800, $1,000 up, right? Once they're graded. But Minecraft is just so historic for the Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids got me into it. So
my daughter I have a 15-year-old and she's huge into Minecraft. I actually got it for her for Christmas.
That's awesome. So that was a 9.4 is what it was?
Yeah, and it just came back from getting graded.
That's incredible. By the way, Tom Tormey had no idea games could be graded. They can, man. We live in a great day and age of collectibles. And by the way, Planet Arizona said that guests get to make up the rules on CBC. It's in the contract. Danielle forgot. That's why she asked, but that's
right.
I'm wondering though.
She just wanted us to say it yes again. So
I was
just wondering. Oh, go ahead, Danielle.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, you go first because
I was just saying I was being polite.
Oh yeah, she could do whatever she wants. Is basically what she's saying. I was wondering though, with everything being graded, can I grade like my dirty socks? Like, is that a thing now too? Like,
I'm working on it. They'll be graded on a scale of stank to stank.
Super stank. That's stankonia stank.
By the way, you are killing it with our audience. Peter Thornton, she brought a knife to a box cutter.
That's how I roll.
Absolutely, you're killing this. Do you think third-party grading is the inevitable future of all value comics?
For sure, just because they're going to get, I mean, they already are at a price level, right? Where I deal mostly in graded books just because, especially on expensive stuff, there's no discrepancies. They can't argue and say, well, I think it's this grade or, okay, Coco.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we don't need
that they're just getting to a point where it takes out the middleman and the guessing game and well, I said that, you said this.
Yeah, all right. Hey, guys, by the way, let's just keep it civil. We're having a good time here. There's no need to disparage anybody. That's not cool. Anyways, all right, moving on. Speaking of disparaging, though, I have my next book compared to Danielle's stuff. So here we go. This is going to be awesome. It's the first appearance of Batgirl Beyond. Batman Beyond Unlimited number 18. I picked this up. I was like, why the hell not? Hopefully they do something with this property. I would love to see this. I guess, there is talk with Michael Keaton coming back that he may kind of mentor and be that older Bruce Wayne that mentors at Batman Beyond. So this is the first appearance of Batgirl Beyond. I haven't read it yet, but I'm interested in reading something like that. So, all right, Chris, it's on you, man. Are we going to try and topple Danielle here? Are we going to try and knock her off the mountain?
And
I look for it.
No, we have no chance. Go ahead, Chris. What do you got?
I'm going to show you something that you've never seen before. No, I'm just kidding.
At least it's that.
Well, look, I'm getting close because it's a 10-cent book.
Ooh,
Okay.
Yeah.
My first, I think I think I show off one 10-cent book before, but it was like a Dell. It wasn't anything crazy. It's a 10-cent DC comic. It's technically a first appearance. So, I'm trying to keep up here, but I don't know. It is Action Comics number 267.
Okay.
The first Supergirl as Superwoman. And it's been well loved, as you can see. It's been well loved, but it's mine.
Nice. That's a nice.
It presents really nice though, because a lot of the wear is around the edges and you get the full, really nice image in the middle. And it's not beat but complete. It's like neat but complete.
Yeah. The color. Is it fair to say too that the colors?
Yeah.
Is it fair to say for the colors for that era are kind of unique in that way too?
Like with the pinks and the yellows and like that color banners for sure.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't. By the way, everybody, Bishner thought it was a Warlock. Number one.
No, not today. Not today.
All right. Moving on, though, we are going to get back into our audience. We got the bearded one, guys. I'm psyched. He hasn't presented yet. He hasn't done anything for Fresh from the Comic Shop yet. But he's got a nice little DC grab here. I do believe the bearded one is a diehard DC fan, but even more of a diehard Lobo fan. So he has 3 Lobo books there. We all heard the announcement of Blue Beetle. We're gonna have a hopefully it's DCEU Blue Beetle. Who knows if it's gonna be just DC Multiverse, and then there's a Starman, looking like an early '90s Starman. So those are some nice pickups there, sir. We'll get into Union Josh as well. Union Josh has a giant size.
Great
number 1. Great book.
Yep.
Absolutely. Nice book right there. But I bet you Danielle has a better one. I'm sorry. I keep saying it. I'm just so impressed with what you're bringing to the table here.
I want to talk about the Giant Size Invaders because it's such an homage back to the 40s.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And wait, I think you may have a kind of a segue here for us. I'm hoping.
I wish I did, but I don't. I have a segue to the 60s.
What do you got, though? Oh, look at you.
Did I do okay? Is this okay for a mail call?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of okay.
I
we expect better from our guests, but whatever.
Sorry. Hang on. Let me walk away and I'll come back and I'll try again.
You talk a good game too. That's the thing. That's what makes you fun. All right, but again, this is my last book of the evening, right here. It's just, but it is okay. It is. It's a brand new series, Radiant Black. This is a 1 in 500 book from TFAW. I'm loving this cover right here. I have not read it. I just got it today, actually.
Is that issue 1 or 2?
For quite a while. What's that?
Is that issue 1?
Yes, it's the 1 in 500 from TFAW.
That is nice cover.
So I'm really digging this low print run, and I'm looking forward to reading it. I heard good things about this, although Chris did not like that first issue.
I mean, I'm not gonna. It just
wasn't your.
I say this. It did. Yeah, it didn't give me any reason to spend $4 on the next issue. So.
I remember you saying that's okay. It happens. It definitely happens.
Yeah.
But actually, let's get into we got Vinny Whitlock here, actually. Vinny Whitlock, he doesn't have this in hand, but I wanted to share with you.
Hey.
Kirby Goodness, Devil Dinosaur, number 1, 9.0. What's that?
Yeah. That was like a cheap pickup for a number 1. Yeah.
He was very happy about this. And then our good friend, you'll like this, our good friend Dan De La Torre, Tales to Astonish, number 79.
Nice.
Hulk. Yep, Hulk versus Hercules. That's another character, guys, I would expect to be in the MCU sooner rather than later. He's a good character to bet on, no doubt about that. All right, Chris, what do you... Did I jump? No, it is your turn. No. What do you got? You're closing it out. You're closing it out, Chris.
All right. Well, I wanted to do my last pick is something that's going to be a giveaway. So this next book was, first off, big shout out to Tony, the president of EGS. He donated this book for my 5,000 subscriber contest If you guys want to know how to enter that contest, go check out my live stream that I did earlier today. Watch it on the rewind. This is just one of the many books. We have all kind of awesome sponsors, including BCW, CoverPrice.com, A1 Comics, and more. And this was one of the books that the winner of my 5,000 subscriber contest is going to receive. And it is a beautiful, Amazing Spider-Man, number 44.
That's a sexy cover.
9.8. Look at that with the custom web logo. This is a comics. Oh shoot! It's the comics exposure exclusive variant. COA on the back there, 9.8.
Wait, grade the seal?
What's that?
Did you say the seal?
Oh, COA.
Oh, I thought you said they graded the seal. I never mind.
COA,
I'm like,
right
what seal do they grade? Like the bag? They put a grade on the bag? What?
Well, hey, we were talking about grading everything, right?
I'm saying.
Grading your seat, that's taking it to a new, Jesus, that's really mind-blowing. That's a great cover. I love that cover.
Yeah,
and how can you win that again, Chris? Tell us.
What's that?
How can you win that again?
Oh, yeah. So this is for my 5,000 subscriber contest. All you really need to do, I'll tell you guys real quick because it's really easy. Be subscribed to my channel. Be subscribed to this Comic Book Canon channel. And then go find any one of my videos on my Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture page. Anyone, I will see it and just say in the comment section, I'm sub to Journals and Comic Book Canon. That's all you need to do.
What?
That's
more
pretty
prizes
easy.
as well. This is only one of the books that we're giving.
By the way, we failed to mention that our 500 sub contest, we're going to announce the winners next week. We apologize. I should have said that up at the top of the show. Just been so distracted with everything here. I mean, like literally, I was like, "Ooh, I smell old comic books coming from Florida. Really old comic books. That's incredible. that is incredible." So I apologize, but yes, we will be announcing our winners. Anyways, guys, that is fresh from the comic shop. If you guys want to participate with us out there in the audience, please tag us on our Instagram at Comic Book Canon. Let us know your fresh gets each week. We'll be happy to share them like we did today. There was a good 15
nice
covers
mix.
we shared with everybody. That was a lot of fun. Danielle, you killed it. This is the best fresh from the comic shop ever, and we thank you for that. Goodness gracious,
Wow.
that was unreal. But the show is not over, Danielle. If you could just be with us for a little bit more.
Co-hosting duties? Okay, I'm in.
You have more. You do, because we have a segment we do each and every week. It is called the Cosmic Minute. Tom Tormey. You all should be following Tom Tormey on Instagram at Cosmic Comic History. Every single day, Tom dishes out some juicy little nugget of comic book history on his Instagram. But we are fortunate enough to have him each and every week producing a video package for us titled The Cosmic Minute, where he gives us a broader story than you can in Instagram. So this week, guys, you ever hear about the rock band Kiss? Yeah, you've heard them, haven't you? Yeah, well,
Maybe.
this is Kiss, Marvel, and a bucket of blood. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Tom from Cosmic Comic History, and this is your Cosmic Minute. And I've got to ask you, how would you like the bodily fluids of a man who's reportedly slept with close to 5,000 women mixed in with the ink that went into your comic book? Let's talk about Kiss and Marvel. On February 21st, 1977, while on a tour break, Kiss band members Ace Frehley, Peter Criss, Paul Stanley, and Gene Simmons flew up to New York where they donated their blood. The blood was then mixed with red ink to be used for the first ever Kiss Marvel comic book. 1977's Kiss Marvel Comic Super Special number 1 became the first comic book ever to be printed in human blood. A rumor circulated for over a decade that the red blood ink that was used in the Marvel comic was accidentally used in a Sports Illustrated magazine. However, those rumors were completely unfounded. Although no one could remember who exactly came up with the concept, the promotional gimmick worked, and the Kiss comic became the best-selling comic book of all time. Kiss Marvel Comics Super Special number 1 would hold that title for the next 15 years. That is until Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man number 1 came out in 1990. I'm still Tom from Cosmic Comic History, and that was your Cosmic Minute. Until next week, be well and stay safe.
Tom just bringing it from all over the place. I mean, last week was about Superman and President Kennedy. This week, Kiss and blood in your comic book.
I just want to give him kudos for a second. I just read his comment where I'll forever be grateful for the opportunity. Congratulations, because that is such an amazing, amazing feat and milestone. Hats off to you, my friend.
He's not only talented and knows his shit, he's also a really good person.
Yeah.
So hearing that from a really good person, it's incredible.
That's awesome.
We say this every week. We are so grateful that he is a part of the show, and he can. I mean, it's so interesting everything he produces.
Yeah.
This one was the weirdest of them all, I have to say.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No.
Me neither. Oh yeah, I did know that.
So my question to you is: have you ever kind of sold those books? Are they sought after?
I think it's a niche thing, right? Like there's a group of people who love to go after them, and it's a very niche market. But I think maybe I've owned one, but I never.
I'm laughing at Tom. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at Tom's comment. When Kiss misses their blood with a boom, they set records. When I do it, I get banned from the library for life.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't know you were trying to be another trendsetter.
Oh my gosh, that was outstanding. Anyways, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, because I didn't know this story. I don't know much about that. I mean, obviously, we all know Kiss. I remember like the action figures growing up or something like that back in the day. But and of course, you know,
well,
you're
come to some of the shows too. You know.
What's that?
They still come to some of the shows. Gene Simmons was in Chicago a couple years ago, right?
He's a big comic book fan. He's bought
comic book fan.
He's bought some indie properties to try and produce films, and I don't think he has yet, but he's a diehard comic book fan. I used to work with somebody that he bought their property. Nothing ever came of it, but he's always looking for that kind of stuff. So, but I had no idea. And again, this is another thing that Tom brings to the show. These interesting tidbits. And again, you guys, I can't recommend this enough. Follow Cosmic Comic History, and you will not be disappointed every day. Every single day. All right.
Yeah.
That is our Cosmic Minute. But now we have one of everybody's favorite segments of the week. This is what we do, Danielle. This is what we do each and every week. People buy comics online, they sell them online. We have data there. What we do here is we take the top 10 hottest comics of the week based off of cover prices data. That is right. It's not speculation. It's not like, oh, I think this book is hot. It is actual data. Each and every week, Cover Price dishes out. They release a list on Monday. Our show is live every Friday. We like to dissect things. Normally, Chris actually takes the top 3 most interesting books on that top 10 list. This week we're doing something different because this week the list is like we've never seen this before. It is fascinating. So we're going to get into it right now. I'm going to have Chris lead the way on this after I read off to everybody the top 10 hottest comics of the week. Here we go, everybody. That is right. We have at number 10, we have Kanto, number 1 from IDW. Number 9 is Marvel's Voices. Number 1, the first appearance of the Goddess Spider, first cameo of the Children of the Atom. That book is an interesting book. People are either trashing or loving. At number 8, West Coast Avengers, number 45. We all know why that book is hot, and I love John Byrne. Number 7, Ultimate Fallout, number 4. At number 6, by the way, Ultimate Fallout, number 4. I mean, come on. At number 6, Spidey Super Stories. Number 5, we have Slam, number 1 by Boom. At number 4, our good friends at Bad Idea, ENIAC, number 1. I love that this is on the list each and every week, guys. Chris and I, we're happy to have Dinesh on to speak about his company, but we believed in it before he came on. So anyways, number 3 is Lenore, number 1. Number 2 is Mystery Girl, number 1 from Dark Horse. And at number 1 is Nottingham, number 1 from Mad Cave. Chris, what are the similarities we see in this list this week?
Right, yeah. So, I mean, I usually go through and I can pick out 3 books and say, boom, boom, boom. I pick out 3 books because of crazy reasons. I pick out 3 books because of, value jumps or just why books are hot. This week, I couldn't just pick 3 books. But what we see on this list that we've never seen before, we've been doing the show for almost a year. I've never seen a list that is not only dominated by independent books, but how each of those independent books is by its own publisher. Check this list out. IDW, right? Boom. Bad Idea, Slave Labor, Dark Horse, and Mad Cave. And the top 3 on the list, Lenore #1, Slave Labor. 2, Mystery Girl #1, Dark Horse. And #1, Nottingham #1, Mad Cave. You have 6 different indie publishers hitting the top 10 this week. No DC, a few Marvels, and that's it. Tell me, how many of you would have ever expected this? So let's talk about, though, why these books are on this list. So outside of, we're going to put Bad Idea, ENIAC #1 aside real quick, but the 5 other ones, it's all about programs, or excuse me, TV series or movies being opted by these networks or studios. Every single one of those 5 projects has been opted for either a live action TV show, an animated TV show, or a live action feature film. And I've talked about this before, and I'm going to talk about it again today. What does that show me? It means that comic books are such a huge medium in terms of the art form that they are, that they're really the soil right now that's nurturing all these other artistic platforms, because we're taking the stories from the comic books and we're bringing them into TV shows and into cartoons and into the movie theaters. And it's not just the superhero genre. It's not just Marvel and Spider-Man and Avengers. It's not just DC and Justice League and Superman and Batman. It's all kind of different genres, you know, mystery, horror, children's adventure, fantasy, sci-fi. And they're all looking at comic books. You have these big networks and big studios saying, where do we get creators anymore? You're not just going to your, you know, I don't even know. I can't even, your Ridley Scotts and your Steven Spielbergs, or, you know, Zemeckis's and all these people. They're going to comic books to get these stories from. So when everyone sits there and says, people don't read comic books anymore, you got to be kidding me, dude. I'm just telling you.
Movies, though. I'm just kidding.
Well, and that too. And hey, look, and it pairs because there's so many people that are out here reading these comics that they know that they could take these properties and put them into movies for those people that watch movies, right?
Connect with the characters, right? Because watching them come to life on a screen is much different than reading them in the story, because you have this vision of how you think this person is. And then to watch them come to life, it draws you in more. Or it has the opposite effect also, where if you didn't read the book, but you watch the movie or the series and you're like, you know what? I really need to go back and read this because I want to see where this came from and how this came to fruition.
Absolutely spot on. I mean, I think you took my thoughts right out of my head and my mouth.
I'm sorry. Right. You passed it to me, so I took it.
Yeah, no, for me, because I agree with everything that you just said and how you worded that, it feels so good for me to hear that, especially coming from you and someone in your position with your knowledge and whatnot. It means a lot. So, you know, it really goes to show people need to understand and respect what's going on with this industry right now. And I think this is huge. And I do want to talk about Bad Idea again, because look, here they are. What is this, Jeff? Three weeks in a row now that they've been on the list, or is it just 3 weeks, right?
From the launch of their company. And it's
from the launch of their exactly.
First book ever.
What a great accomplishment out the door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They did it right. And we've talked about many reasons why they've done it right. And people are going to hate on it, what have you. But again, we think those are the speculators who can't get 20 copies of this book.
Right.
And who didn't even get one copy, knowing they could have ordered this over a year ago.
Right.
Up until 2 months before the book was released, you had the opportunity.
That shows the talent and the powerhouse that they put behind them.
Exactly. They take that into that's something they consider strongly. And you got people, you got top of the line people working on those books. And again, Tankers is coming out on April 7th. Pretty psyched to see that book coming out. And we'll see what happens though. We'll see if people aren't going to miss the boat on that first issue of that series. We'll see what happens. It's the same rules to buy that book. You can't buy multiple copies in one store and all that stuff. So we'll see.
I love that they can do that. I love that they're putting those rules in place.
Yeah. They again, they're catering to people who are collectors, and the other rule is that they have, you can pre-order or have a pull list in your comic book shop for your first print, but then they will always indefinitely produce what they call not first prints. Yeah. Right? So that caters to the people who want to read it. They can get that copy.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept, and actually one that we feel like makes sense. But
I love that rule. I think that it stops people from manipulating the market.
Exactly. That's it. And that's, Dennis, they put, the CEO they put a lot of thought into what they were doing. And again, they knew that they're going to get a lot of pushback on it, and they have for this first issue. We'll see what happens down the road with more of their releases. But Chris, I don't know, are there any other points you want to bring up about the top 10?
No, I think we really hit the nail on the head here. I love, I love seeing this mix of books and reasons, I do want to give a big shout out to my guy Miles for making that list yet again. I just got to say that. But yeah, no, I just happy. Like I said, 6 different indie publishers in the top 10 for this week. Just beautiful.
I think that shows the overall strength of the market as well.
Yep.
That people are considering other books other than the big 2, and that's very important for the health of this market. Just to see other options, other people picking up other lesser known properties, and actually not only picking them up, but dropping some cash on these, right? So Canto's no joke.
Well, and I think speaks to being hungry for more than just superheroes.
Yeah, correct.
More than anything, it's like, well, yeah, Marvel crushes superheroes in the movies and everything else, but people love those darker, deeper stories.
Yeah.
They can really, because like everyone can't connect with being a superhero, right? People can connect with misery and like trials, and like it's true though.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, two points are Tinian's book, James Tinian's book. You got Department of Truth and Something Is Killing the Children. Those are 2 hot titles right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 super hot titles that there's supernatural things involved, but not superheroes and people,
right.
With
but that's different. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's cool
and to that too, you look at what Kevin Feige's doing with superheroes and taking the superhero out of the superhero genre and putting it in spy espionage or some kind of crazy TV sitcom where you don't know what you're going to get from episode to episode. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, there's so much more to be told outside of just, and that's why, hey, Jeff, this goes back to Radiant Black. When I read issue #1 of Radiant Black, it was like, some guy finds a suit, becomes a superhero, and it's like, okay, this is the same thing being told and told again. We want that something different. We want stuff that we can relate to more, that branches outside of that basic structure, you know?
Box.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But anyways, it's really interesting to see this kind of this indie dominated list. So that is our top 10 hottest comics of the week. There will be a new and interesting list next week. Now, Danielle, the show's not over.
It's just
not over. You've got more responsibilities because there are questions for you, actually. There are questions. Good friend Isaac Maynard, who actually we were all impressed with this. Isaac Maynard has a Amazing Fantasy 9.0, and he wants to know how to upgrade it to a 9.4. How would he go about doing that? And I'm not sure exactly what he means, if he means by pressing it.
Yeah, Isaac, are you saying you want to sell your 9.0 and buy a 9.4, or are you saying that it looks like a really nice 9.0 and you want to press it?
Yeah.
I know someone with a 9.4. I'm happy to see if they'd be willing to sell it and maybe take your 9.0 and trade towards it, because then everyone wins. They still get a copy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Interesting.
I don't know if you're on Instagram. He dropped my Instagram. I'm Nerdy Girl Comics on there. Shoot me a message.
I'm happy to help you. Guys, the link is down below. It's super easy. Guys, you should be following her anyways. If you're a comic fan in general, You should be. I mean, by the books that you just showed us today, for God's sakes, you all should be following. All right. How do you go about curating?
So I'm not going to answer his questions
I'm
because
sorry.
I just troll. It's okay, but I'm happy to call a troll a troll.
No, that's fine. I saw that earlier too. I didn't realize it was the same.
No, it's okay.
All right. Do we have any more questions here? What is happening, people?
Hang on. I feel like there were other questions and comments. Okay, guys, this is your moment. You have 60 seconds to drop any question you can think of.
Ooh.
So we can hurry up and get them on.
There you go. You heard it. You heard it.
Go. Ready, set, go. You are a pressable. You're an unpressable defect. I'm not sorry.
Dominic, Primetime Treasure Hunter.
Hey, homie. Do you
think CGC gives higher grades to books if you send in lots of books consistently? One of my LCS owners is convinced. I'm not sure.
No.
That would be hard to prove too. Like, I don't understand.
No, it's absolutely, because I submit a lot of stuff. I do a lot of stuff on pre-screens, and usually when my books come back, I'm like, oh, shit, I must have missed this or I must have missed that. So no, I don't think it has anything to do with sending in consistently. I do think if you send in a lot of books on an invoice and you send in like 50 books and a 9.8 pre-screen, obviously you're going to have a higher percentage of passes than you would on like a 20 pre-screen invoice, but that's just how the numbers go.
All right, I see two good questions here actually. Como Comic Books. Are you going to come to OAF Con this year? I don't even know what that is.
That's in Texas, right? I think OFCon is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So I'm waiting for a vaccine. I said in the beginning, I'm very COVID cautious. As soon as I have a vaccine and I'm comfortable going back out into the world, I cannot wait to get back to shows. They are my lifeblood. I'm very much an extrovert, if you can't tell. And I thrive on conventions. So I cannot wait to get back to one.
All right.
Oh, we gotta answer P. Keel's question because I'm Sicilian.
Hold on.
So I'm liking this question. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Lasagna. It combines all the best things with cheese.
I like that answer. I like that.
All right, here's another one. Beer of choice.
Tonight, it's Golden Monkey. I'm usually like a fruity beer girl.
Yeah, don't do just for tonight. Just do
stout.
Yeah, what is your beer of choice? Like if you went to a bar, they had everything available to you.
I'm a flight girl. I like to try a little of them all.
That's oh my gosh. All right. Fine.
Go ahead. I have an answer for everything. I have a 15-year-old.
Fair. All right. This is a great question for Michelle here. Danielle, what's one thing you changed for the pandemic that you'll continue doing when things return to normal?
Sanitizing the shit out of my hands. People are so gross.
Yep.
And on like a business side, live claim sales. They are my jam.
I mean, we're in a world here where living inside of a box like this is going to be perceived as normal, even if we can get out and meet people in person. But it's a great way to reach out to people.
Well, and I think people love this like way to connect where you don't have to be in person and you can connect with more people that way. Yeah,
no, definitely. Oh, by the way, Como Comics says it's in Norman, Oklahoma.
Oh, Oklahoma. I've never been to Oklahoma. It depends how easy it is to fly into that show, to be honest.
I mean, how does that affect you too? Like in terms of like if you have to fly to a show, that's probably not easy for you to bring all these books and things like that, right?
So my show setup is not that big.
Okay.
Mine, because I don't do a lot. I only do really wall books, and then I rent a showcase for my best books. And I never share what hotel I'm staying at until after the show is over. Because, security. And I travel with my best stuff on me.
That's easy.
Like,
That's easy.
if you ever see me walking through an airport, when I did LA and San Diego, look, I was by myself with my daughter and my niece who were not helpful. I had my rack over one arm, my suitcase in one hand. I have a little hand truck that I check and then get at the gate to keep a box on. And then my backpack with my other books. I look like a hot mess express. But don't come for me.
It sounds
We
like
need
you
to
have a
get
system down, too.
some secret service agents.
Right.
So I didn't know Matt S was from Canada, but
No, I do not do Canadian. I used to live in Rochester, New York, so I was super close to Niagara Falls, Canada. And just the logistics of going back and forth across the border due to customs is just too problematic for me to set up at a show out of the country.
yo, this is a good question here. It's not necessarily directed at any of us, but for people in the chat, how many of y'all have spent some of your stimulus money on books? I mean, that's a good question right there. Like,
Look, I'm not going to lie. I threw some books up on eBay yesterday just because I knew those deposits were hitting.
yeah. I mean, have you seen an uptick?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It makes sense, though, like that's the purpose of the money, right? To spend it on other stuff or with small businesses. Like it's not to just go put into your savings account. I think I heard like 40% they believe is going to be reinvested in the stock market.
That's encouraging, but it's also helping people get by too. A lot of people need that help.
100%. Oh,
yeah.
I'm not
And
discounting that at
it's
all.
helping the businesses. It's putting the money back
Right.
into the economy.
Right.
Yep.
Totally. Absolutely.
There's a lot of people that really need that money. Like, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of businesses really need that money.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And especially businesses like the restaurant industry, like that, they've been devastated through this whole thing. So, Como comic books collectors are making it rain up in here. That is true, no doubt about that. Also, 80% tax refund. Yeah, I mean, it's people are getting the refunds now too. It is a crazy time of year, actually, more than probably last year. Last year was a big question mark for life in general. So,
But it goes
all right, guys. Well, see, what's that?
It goes back to what do you spend your money on? You're not going on vacation.
Yep.
You're not going out to dinner.
Absolutely, 100%. But looks like these questions are winding down, man. It's been a great show with you, Danielle. You've been an amazing host.
Thanks for having me.
We're a little jealous because you kind of like outshined us, and it's our show. So maybe
I have a habit of doing that. Don't feel bad.
We'll just hand this show to you, and you're just gonna take it from here.
Yep.
Can we be a guest host on your show?
Yep. Every Friday.
Is that cool?
I'll take the reins. Pass it over. You want me to get next time?
You owned it. Yeah, it's on. All right. Yeah, you have some fans here. Danielle's the best. Come on back. I know Dan De La Torre had a nice fan too.
Yeah,
a lot
I'd
of
love
people.
to
So
come back.
absolutely tough book. Thanks, Danielle. So yeah, we really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
Joining today. It's been an absolute blast. We love doing this each and every Friday. So we thank you guys, the audience. We really love doing this. Chris, we're approaching a year in May doing this, which is crazy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Let's to come back
in a
year.
yeah, we'll have to start thinking about something here to think about that. But yeah, again, thank you so much for joining us each and every week. We love doing this. We'll be back next week without a special guest because I am going to Boston and I don't trust my hotel's internet connection. So we'll see how that goes. So it'll still be a fun show. We're going to announce our winner for the 500 subscription contest, and we'll go from there. Chris, what are your parting words?
Well, yeah, Danielle, thank you again so much for coming on. What I really appreciate is that, you know, I'm a collector. You know, I said earlier, talking about how I hoard and how I get emotionally connected to even books I buy in the 50-cent bin, right? But I don't collect variants. But I'm a businessman. And I really am all about uniting people in this hobby because I think there's people on all ends. You know, certain people do things this way, certain people do things that way, and we can be very divided at times. And I think that you bring a very really solid, grounded perspective that is different from a lot of collectors that I hope folks watching tonight really took that in
you.
and can see that this is a hobby that can be enjoyed from all different sides of things. And I really appreciated hearing your side of things tonight. So
Thank you. Thank you. That was really kind. Thank you.
He's
You
way
know,
better at words than I am.
Very much about being inclusive. Kindness matters. And yeah, I try to live by that. Knowledge is power, and sharing is just everything, right? Like the more knowledge people have, the better everyone is.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Absolutely. 100%. All right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much. We will be back again next Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Until then, y'all stay well, okay? Be safe out there, and just love each other. Have a good night.
Yes.
See you in a bit.